to the end of, or what do you call it? When you're going back to school, they say free paper bun.
Free paper bun.
Or paper, wasn't, as police is always burning, right? We're always on the burning side of things. Nevertheless, this is St. Andrews South Beat, a very special program designed to explore issues affecting the St. Andrews South Division. Each week, we'll be focused on breaking the barriers of several issues affecting this division and the citizens at large. Today's program aimed to spread awareness on our back to school and some of the things that will be taking place, including safety for our children. I don't know if it's a negative or a positive stress. Distress or eustress, but for some persons, I guess it have its own balance. Some person have positive and some have negative, especially the ones who pass their exams to go to the higher level of school, and they believe that it's more work. I can tell them that for sure. Once you excel to go to the secondary level of education, then you know that you have to put some more in your step. So
Definitely.
You can't stop and play dandy shandy anymore. You have to. I just laugh, like she said, I haven't heard that one in a long time. I wonder if they're still playing that. That's, you have to, you know that.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
I'm not
so it's still
young.
it's still happening. I see. Yeah, look here, she don't have reached 19. Good.
Thank you.
Lady Allen, welcome again.
Thank you so much.
She's my co-host this morning, Constable Mohisha Allen, a very dynamic female who you're going to meet later on in life, stop you, and sure, I don't think she'll give you much, probably the whole ticket book. But welcome again, as we're working together to create better communities and build our Vision 2030.
Definitely.
Vision 2030 for making Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise family, and do business. And if you're just joining us, remember to call us on 876 225-9478 and share your thoughts on today's discussion. You can also listen live on rootsjamaica.com. Go follow us on Facebook at Roots FM Jamaica. Follow us on Instagram at Roots96.1 FM _Jamaica and on Twitter at Roots_96 FM. The program is brought to you by New Budget Supplies, always the best prices. Lady Allen, I know that you have been very busy like a bees. So we haven't seen her for a while, but she's still within the space working at the Community Safety and Security office, and that's an office that is always busy with our citizens. They look at the needs of our citizens and more proactive into making sure that things are happening to the best of the ability for both we the police and the citizen at large. And for that, we want to say a very special thank you to herself and their leaders, Inspector Walters. Is she back
today?
She's coming back today. Welcome back, Inspector Walters. She was off for a while. She lead the CSS team. I'm sure that Sergeant Foster, right, was doing an extremely good job. I saw him at the tasking meeting, and he was firing. I almost put some kerosene oil on him, so you know what's going to happen when that happens. You know that if you throw kerosene oil on fire, people said it blazes, but not all the time. You know, sometimes I
sound like a fire expert.
Much, you know, if you put too much, it can kill it. Yeah, and if you put too much, if the oil is more than the fire itself, yeah.
I wouldn't even try that one, so I wouldn't even try that one.
See that. Nevertheless, this is St. Andrews South Beat. As we're about to get into the fact that when we look at make the first day of school easy for the kids, so that's one of the things that we're saying to our parents, that to make the first day of school easy for our children. So how do we look at our children to say that you're going to school for the first day. What are some of the things that we can do to make it easy for them? We can visit the school with them.
Definitely.
That's for one thing. The first day. The orientations are extremely important.
And I say that all the time to parents, because we find it, even being a part of the schools, some of the concerns that the teachers or the principals have is that parents, sometimes they send the children out alone. You don't see the parents coming out. The first day, you don't see the parents coming out.
Off work.
Yes.
Ask for that particular day.
Right.
Visit the school.
Yes, definitely.
Know the environment. Look at some school probably don't want you walking around in their restroom and all over. But if that's the case, then you go prior to the first day of school and visit the school, and especially when the school is brand new.
Right.
To the child. So that's one of the things that parents were saying to you. Make your child be comfortable going to school, not just go and get them uniform.
That's not
books.
enough.
No.
And I think that's something over the years I find parents doing. They tend to believe that once you provide these materialistic things for the child or children, that's enough. And really that's not enough, because based on the things that we're faced with now in society, we want to see our parents actively involved in our children's life. I mean, we have parent teachers association. Sometimes you don't see the parents out there at the meetings. And like I said, because I'm actively involved in the schools, I know what's happening. And we're charging our parents right here in the St. Andrews South Division. Those who are listening elsewhere, but particularly St. Andrews South, we want you to be involved in your children's life. We want to see you coming out at the schools, doing random checks on them. It was just yesterday I was saying to some of my clubites.
I don't know if you used to have these when you just look up and you see your mother
showing up at school, of course.
Yeah, you just look up and you see your parents and you're like,
right. So we need some of that, some random checks at school, because like I said, I was saying to some of my clubites yesterday, I'm saying I heard the young people uttering ride the bus. So I was surprised what they meant by riding the bus.
I'm gonna know yet.
I'm gonna tell you now. So what they mean by riding the bus is a thing where they don't come off at their destination. So if the bus is going town, but they have to come off at Seaview Gardens, they don't exit there. They go to town with their friends and they sit on the bus and allow the bus to drive all over the city. They don't come off, and they vibe according to them. They will have vibes on the bus. And I am hoping that we can get to a place where the driver will say to a child, why are you on the bus so long, or something, because it is something that they have been practicing over a period of time.
Hope is a good thing. You're hoping. Hope is a good thing.
Yes. I mean, probably we need to engage our bus drivers in conversations like those, because I was really surprised when a child said it to me. Like, Miss, we ride the bus. I'm like, what do you mean by ride the bus? We don't come off the bus when we reach our destination. We just go and drive and ride on the bus until a friend them come off. And I'm like,
that's dangerous.
Very, very dangerous.
That's
very
a
dangerous.
Breach of child safety. There's so much danger in doing something like that. But just pause for a minute. Let me welcome the most handsome police in the Jamaica Constabulary Force, who is with us this morning. Who is with us this morning, and I when I saw him just now, I thought, here comes our future Commissioner of Police. Here comes our future Commissioner of Police, none other than Constable O. Samuels, who is joining the team this morning for us to focus on our back to school situation. Of course, Lady Allen was saying that the children ride in the bus, and then riding the bus means that they spend the entire, it's like waste time on the bus.
Nothing less than wasting
and then
time.
Once they say that once you're idle, the devil always find work for idlers, because that's idle time.
Definitely.
And we don't know that as parents, that our children are doing these things. So one of the things that we as parents have to put in place is to put time factor on our children when they're at school. So you look at the traffic situation, you look at the time that school dismiss from that time to that time, and you add some more minutes to it, and you expect them to come home at 4.
Right.
So you look out for them at 4. You don't let them come home at 7 and tell you that they lost God. So we charge our parents for looking out for these children and talk to them about riding the bus, because I learned that new term today, and riding the bus, and they see it as entertainment. Probably the music is blasting in the bus, but then again, I'm a little bit off, because if you ride the bus for all the time, then the bus driver, they won't be able to make any money, because
you're taking up space.
No, I'm trying to understand, because you're not going to make any money. Because if I ride a bus for the whole day and I'm not paying back and forth every time that you go to town or you go whatever and come back, and I'm not paying any money and the bus is full, then what happened? Because we're talking about expense here on another level. So I'm a little bit off. How long can they ride the bus for without paying? So something must be excited, or some persons must be the beneficiary of something on the bus. And I fail to believe that or adults who supposedly to be responsible adults are not teaching our children the laws of the land. But then again, the question will ask, do they know the laws of the land? Because a child is a child, and the laws of the land make provision for a child. So I remember one time I was in court, and the female told the judge sentenced the gentleman, and she said, I think she was about 13, 14, and she said, I'm a game judge. And the judge said, you can't give away the government property. You can never give away the government property. So it sounds off, but our children are children of the state, and we are responsible for them. Parents will ask, then how comes you don't know when they want to go to school? We know when they're in need of care and protection from things that may become detrimental to them, and that is what is important, to protect them from harm and danger as it relates to the other aspect of things, food, clothing, and shelter. That's a responsibility for our parents. So we, the police and the state at large, protect our children and remind our adults that our children are children, and you should understand that what children mean. If you don't know the meaning of children, then you try Google it, because everybody have a smartphone, and if you can't write it, then you get the one where you ask Siri, or what's the other one? or you can ask Alexa. Somebody you can ask. You can, technology is so advanced that even if you can't write it or Google it, then you can speak it to them, and you have a responsibility as an adult to guide our children. Welcome to St. Andrew South Beat, Samuels, one more time. Were you aware of riding the bus, with children riding the bus and not getting off at their stop and riding around like there's some gas in the engine? Are you aware of that?
Well, I didn't know that was a term they classify it as, so I learned something new.
New, like myself, right?
Right, but I agree with you. It makes no sense riding the bus the whole day, the expenses that incur for doing that the whole day, but the fault is with the adults.
The adults.
Right?
I don't think they ride the bus for the whole day, because remember, they go to school. So it's when school dismisses. So instead of heading straight home, because remember I told you, for example, if they were to get off at Seaview Gardens, if they're coming from that end, they would not get off the bus, but they'll take an extra ride to go downtown, because peradventure their friend is coming off at Pale, and or another friend coming off at Greenwich. As we go along, another friend coming off at Tivoli. So it's no, man, it's not a trip, it's the continuation of the journey. Remember, you're going over to town,
Okay.
So the final stop will be downtown, for example.
Yes.
But we're coming from Spanish Town then. Their stop is at
3 miles.
3 miles.
Oh, and they continue.
Instead of getting off the bus at 3 miles, they go on because there's a friend coming off at Painland. So them sit down on the bus and them gallivant with the
So how
friends.
them get back to 3 miles? Them have to come back again with the
They will stay on the same bus and they will get off at that time. No, I can't say as to how long they will take the ride for, but I don't. It cannot be for the entire day, of course
they pay
not.
2 times when they're coming back?
They don't pay 2 times.
So I guess
So-
I guess we could say that it's a matter of peer pressure, and then there's something on the bus that is exciting them.
That's what I'm saying. Something there
Is
is
exciting them.
exciting on the
Yeah.
bus. What it is, and that's one of something that we are.
I know music on some of the
Yes.
bus. Some of them, not all. We know that music is a big thing on some of the buses, because if you go to certain sections of Kingston
Yes.
and you take some of those buses, the sort of music and the way the drivers maneuver those vehicles,
Yes.
it's a whole party in itself. It's a whole party in itself.
But I believe that the new RTA make provision, as it relates to the Noise Abatement Act, to the buses and those loud. I'm sorry we didn't have one of the traffic person here. I was really trying to get one of them, but on my way here I saw them picking up motor vehicles.
Yeah, man, they're out working.
They're
But
out.
rest assured, they will be out because they're very much aware of what they normally do going into the school season. So it's a big thing with the driving of the buses and how the music that they play on the bus and what the girls, the students that is tend to do. So I'm pretty sure that our officers are very much aware and they will be out there doing just what they're supposed to do once we come upon these situations. Right here in St. Andrews South, we're mindful also that our teachers, unfortunately, we will not resume the same way we closed it last year because some of our teachers migrated or they resigned for whatever reasons. We won't get into that. But we are mindful, and as such, our school resource officers will be out there playing their role as they always do. So rest assured they'll be seeing us in the schools. We're mindful of the activities that some of our children always participate in, and anything that is negative, anything that is against discipline, anything that's against the school rule, we're out there looking out to detect it and to take the necessary actions.
And people probably wonder, what do you mean by SROs? Because parents, I want you to explain to them about the SRO and the MOU between the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of National Security as we work together to create Vision 2030.
Right, so we have our school resource officers that works within our schools. We work directly with the Dean of Disciplines and guidance counselors. There is a safe school program that has been established with the ministries Madam made mention of. And so what we do is we go in there we endorse discipline. We endorse the rules of the land. We go there also to motivate our youths. We want to ensure that we build their self-esteem in areas that they're lacking. We bridge that gap. And so we work directly with our principals, guidance counselors, and our deans of discipline to ensure that our children are in a safe environment and that the environment is conducive for learning. Wherever we see there are any changes in behavior and at a school level, they need help, we step in. And if it is a case where we need to reach out to other agencies, we do just that.
Which is necessary and important. We, the police, we're always out, but especially when it comes to this time of the season where it's back to school and the road is packed and you just can't move. I can just imagine downtown Kingston today, Thursday, tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday for the entire weekend. The traffic of people, traffic of vehicles, it's gonna be like a chaos. But
Definitely.
I'm always saying, and this is maybe it's finance that you're not able to purchase early. So I'm always saying it, but then again, I look at it from another perspective, and I'm saying that maybe they don't have the money to buy the things them at this early stage. But if it is that you can buy some of the things them, and because when I went downtown yesterday, and yesterday was Wednesday, and it's supposed to be a off day, and if it was hot and it was terrible, and there was a lot of persons downtown, and I was a little bit. I went downtown deliberately on Wednesday because I said it wouldn't be that jam pack because it's Wednesday and it's a off day thing on downtown Wednesday. When I got there, I thought it was Saturday. The crowd was, it was overwhelming. I had to go, and then it was hot, and then people was all over, and then it was just a chaos. And then you hear the people them shouting, and then I wondering when I went home, I was still hearing the shouting. I'm like, what? No, that's how bad it was. And I said to myself, can you imagine all Saturday coming, the chaos that will be downtown? We are saying to our parents as best as possible. Well, I don't know if it's too late. If you can go and get what you can to avoid that rush, and be careful. That's one of the things I want us to tell them as it relates, Samuel's going downtown to purchase things for our children to back to school. Be careful, because I don't know, these culprits, they know that you don't have the money and the small amount of money you have, because they see you later shop, obviously
Right,
the money
right.
not right, and they're stealing it from you. They're taking it out of your bag, they're cutting your bags. And I'm saying to myself, what on earth? They're not thinking. And I believe that is a lack of love for
Definitely.
people.
We're
Yeah.
being very inhumane and insensitive. I mean, we should be our brother's keeper. Unfortunately, we don't see much people embracing that. But one of the things that we ought to note, madam, is that sometimes we fail to do a risk assessment. So we
Yes.
go downtown and we have the handbag and we just have it palazzing over the place, wanting of a better word. And when you do that, some persons are even on their cell phone, so they are distracted. So you're counting money on your cell phone, and you're doing so many things at once, and you're moving casual. You can't be in a space like that, regardless of who you are, and be moving that. You can't be moving casual, because when I go downtown, because I go downtown too.
Oh, yeah.
So when I go downtown,
You go town, Isis? You go town?
Yes, man. I go
You
town, man.
look like you go town.
when I go downtown, I'm talking
I
about
was
when I
just
go.
asking if when you're in your uniform, 'cause that's a whole different thing.
No,
No,
when I go down to shop
I'm going
and
both.
I'm not in my uniform,
Uniform.
listen. When I go down to and I'm not in my uniform, you probably don't even recognize me.
I see. I'm always saying this, and let me not bored. I don't know if it's luck when people go some places and the people pick them pocket, rob them, and I don't know. I'm
I've never
wondering
experienced that,
Yeah,
you
I'm
know.
wondering if they look
Let
at
me
me
not
and
yeah.
they can't bother
I've
with
never
me.
experienced
Like
that.
they look at me and they might say, "Sure."
But I don't try to brandish.
Because I don't show
I,
things.
I don't try to brandish my
brandish.
cell phone or my money or stuff like that. Persons tend to, I realize, you walk downtown and I guess the persons have 2 cell phones in the back pocket. Why would you possibly put your cell phone in your back pocket knowing that you're going through a whole huge crowd down here? And so there's another thing you made mention of traffic. There's another thing I noticed is that motorists, pedestrians, we fail to obey the road code.
They know it. That's the first.
Well,
thing.
well.
The first
No, but when we're going to
Grammar
school, you know,
strong.
when we're going to school, you know, one of the things they started to, they taught us, you know, look up, look down, and to look out for the red light, the amber, and the green light. So I remember, and I'm pretty sure that's still a part of the syllabus. It has
Man,
not
when
changed.
When them say look up, look down, them a look nice kind of look on the ground. because
Yes,
that
I used to do
must
that.
have
I used to do that when they say look up, look down.
People have-
But on a serious note, I realized that pedestrians, I don't know if they look up to see that the light is on green, because they will be there for a whole long time, you know, and they just decided I'm going to cross the road and the light is on green.
It's a state of mind. It's their mind. As a driver, and sometimes I see with motorists, even though it can't be because you're gonna hurt yourself and hurt people. Sometimes you're at the traffic light and it's on red, and you tend to press gas instead of coming to an halt. And it's not a deliberate act. It's a state of mind, and from a driver perspective, you can go off for a second. And as police, when somebody says that to you, you don't look at them as if what, but you have to be more careful and responsible, because you're gonna hurt people and hurt yourself. We talk about persons going into downtown Kingston with their monies. persons, if you have $100,000, don't have all of that money at
One place.
and then when you go into the wholesale or somewhere, you take out the entire 100,000 to take out 5,000 out of it. There is no way on earth that I don't know, can nobody not buying any shoes for any 20,000 for the children go back.
They
to
do it, you
school.
know. Best believe they're doing it.
Back to school.
Clarks for foot.
Them not. So them not reach. Look here.
They do.
25,000 for one shoes.
They
to go
do.
School.
They do.
Like seriously, my children will tell you, they always say that I spend a lot of money on education. I send them to private school from they're 2 years of age. I spend a lot of money on books for them. My son went to China and he did his masters. And when his friends said, "They mother could buy one this year," I'm like, "No, she will buy one laptop." And that and he said it to me, you know. And he said when he was going to school, he realized that I didn't spend money on, like, I buy some games and I spend a lot of money on school.
And that's a good investment. That's a good investment. And to the
Crazy
parents who are
money.
listening, who are listening, I'm hoping that you're taking notes because, I mean, we all have different preferences. Nobody's stipulating to you what you ought to buy for your children. But it can't be that you went out there and you bought the most expensive shoe and bag for your child, but when they come into class,
They don't have any
they don't have any books. And then somebody else's child.
One thing I must say though is, believe it or not, Clarks has been around for a while.
It is.
My
and
dad
it
used
lasts
to
long.
wear my dad used to wear Clarks,
wear them.
and they bought them for me when I went to school, and me I tell you, say them don't mash up.
Them
Right.
now do.
Kick-
I see.
Right.
When we go to school, I would get one Clarks for one money. The money are serious. All 30,000. How much of them? Because me not buy them.
It
Right.
varies.
Yeah,
it
it's very
varies.
depending on the style.
The
But I can
size.
tell you, the
Yeah,
Clarks, that
lasts
line is an excellent line from them time until now in terms of durability.
Right.
Them no mash up so
Right.
easy.
Right.
So
The
that-
money is worth it.
So it's worth it, but
It's
please ensure that whilst you're investing in their footwear, you invest in their brain.
This is St. Andrews South. As we take a break, we will be right back.
You're listening to Roots 96.1 FM, owned and operated by the Mustard Seed Communities, giving voice to the voiceless.
New budget supplies, massive price buster now on. Want to redo that kitchen? Retile that old floor? Stop that leaking roof? Make over the bathroom? It's now or never. White toilet from $14,999. 5-gallon paint from $6,599. Gypsum board $1,749. 15% off UPVC French windows. 10% off kitchen sinks, water tanks, and pumps. 195 Hackleburg Road. Telephone 923-4560. New budget supplies. Always the best prices.
Get the real inner city community news and be informed. You can do all that and more on City Beat, Monday to Friday at 12:45 p.m. on Roots 96.1 FM. City Beat puts you in the know and keeps you rocking in the world of knowledge. So let City Beat catch you on Roots 96.1 FM, Monday to Friday at 12:45 for City Beat. City Beat is the pulse of the city, so don't miss it. Monday to Friday at 12:45 p.m. on Roots 96.1 FM.
Freedom is coming, freedom is coming, freedom is coming, oh yes I know.
Tune in this and every Sunday from 9:30 to Moments of Freedom, the weekly broadcast of the Riverton Meadows and Mamby Park Baptist Churches, with host pastor Reverend Sidney Hall. Join us with opened minds and hearts and be blessed.
Freedom is coming, freedom is coming, freedom is coming, oh yes I know. I'm free from the fear.
The Araratri Evangelistic Association presents Walk Free here on Roots 96.1 FM in a new time, 4:30 p.m. to 5 p.m. On Walk Free, you will hear life-changing testimonies, inspirational messages, and music to encourage you. Remember, tune in to Walk Free. Listen every Sunday from 4:30 p.m. to 5 p.m. And if you've missed it, tune in to the rebroadcast on Wednesdays at 6 a.m. Tune in and be blessed.
If you give a little more than you take, and if you try to fix more than you break, if you're the kind who takes the time to help a stranger in the rain, there's a place for people like you. If you stand up for those down on their knees and lend a voice to those who cannot speak, if you shine a little light, give sight to the ones who've lost.
Welcome back once again to St. Andrews South Beat. I'm your host this morning, Tanya Lane. Of course, we have two of our future commissioner and commissioner again, Lady Allen and Samuels, who is a part of the team. We have not seen them for a while, but I know that they listen to us and they're with us, but they are doing policing. They are doing policing on the street. Aline said working, and when she said that, I remember a particular Prime Minister. Oh Lord! So I looked to my left and I was wondering if it's she that working. Nevertheless, we're always working. I keep telling people that we don't understand weekends, we don't understand holidays.
Oh no.
And if we're on vacation leave or any other leave, we can be called upon to resume duties at any given time. So even though we're on a particular leave, I think except for sick leave, because if you're sick, you're sick, and then you can't tell me to stop sick. So as it relates to other leaves, we are buying it to the state, and it's a serious job. People see policing from the outside, but when you're there, you recognize that we give a lot to our country. A lot. When I say a lot, we give up our home, our families, and we serve and we protect the people of our country. From time to time, persons look at the police, some positive, some negative, but when it comes to the realness of what is happening, it is the police that they always seems to call to help, and we put our best foot forward at any given time to assist the people of our country and the people within St. Andrews South. Some persons believe that we only arrest people and charge them and put them before the court, but we do more than that as police officers. And some of the citizens within the St. Andrews South and otherwise would say that they have had different encounters with the police and they learn different aspects of policing from us as police. We not only use arm and ammunition, we use other things. We use our brains, we use our knowledge, we use empathy, we use a lot of things with persons, and we have doctors, we have lawyers, we have teachers, we have a lot of different careers within the JCF. We have persons who are scientists and so forth. So don't believe that we only use arm and ammunitions and we only arrest and put people behind bars. The Bible said in Ecclesiastic, I think there is a time and place for everything, and I think when they wrote that, they were talking about the police, because we have our time and place that we do every single thing on this land. Samuels, you are the police. Let me remind them one more time that you're the future commissioner. I saw you walking in and then it does down on me, and believe me, I'm good at it, so you better receive that. Tell us a little bit more about, so give us tell our children as they're going back to school as it relates to road safety with them going to school, because you have some children going to school and I don't know, they have no care in the world. They're just walking and they're just walking. Even if you toot that on, the ball, they just walk. And I wonder if I used to do that when I was a kid, just to walk like I'm out of it. I want you to give a little tip to our children if they're not listening. I'm sure their parents are listening and they will guide them accordingly.
Well, we should first acknowledge that our children are very vulnerable,
Yeah.
right? They're very vulnerable. Vulnerable in the sense that they are easily distracted, right? Their vision is not as key or not as sharp as the adult vision is. And also, they tend to be a bit playful. Playful. No, I mean,
They're
vision in the sense
distracted.
that,
They're
yeah,
always distracted.
right?
Yeah.
And, you know,
Easily distracted.
right? And they don't have what we'll say eyes in the back of our heads like how adults would react quick to a situation, you know? Some of them, right? So we have to first acknowledge that. All right, so boys and girls. All right, so first thing is when we are traversing the roadway, right? We should first stop and observe what's going on around us, right? It might be very noisy. You know, the vehicles are very noisy and sometimes might be very frightening to them. So stop, observe, you know. They always teach us in school, look left, right, or look forward sometimes, or even backward sometimes, before we decide on what move to make next, right? I encourage that utilize a pedestrian crossing. It is there for a reason, right? And motorists, the pedestrian crossing is also there for a reason. So I ask that you respect it, right? Too many times I see persons crossing the pedestrian and motorists fail to stop, right?
And you have motorists that parks on the pedestrian.
And parks on it, right? It is for the pedestrians, not the motorists, right? And a lot of persons know it is a breach of the Road Traffic Act to park or stop on the pedestrian crossing. I don't know if who is aware of it, but it is a breach of the Road Traffic Act. So if you see you get a ticket from the police, then you were warned through Roots FM. All right. Just to add also, all right. I am asking boys and girls that if you don't be afraid to ask for help. You know, sometimes the road might be so busy, especially in the corporate area. You know, I grew up in the country, so we didn't have any much problem traversing on and traffic and when you pass when you go through places like big half a tree, so many vehicles, the rush, right? So we ask that, sometime, I know sometimes somebody else might appear a bit scary, what they call him, boogeyman looking. But you can touch one of them and say, sir or miss, can you help me cross the road, please? Or if you see an officer or somebody, just ask them to assist you in crossing the road, right? I don't know if they still use the hand sign when crossing the road, where they put their hands up in the air to indicate that they want to cross.
With the children?
Yes, they do this hand sign. They do? Yes, man. So we're asking the motorists to respect
Sometimes
that.
some of them so little bit in the ice, they don't see them, especially if you know one low vehicle. Is when you hit them, you realize there's something on that vehicle.
Right. When taking the bus, allow the bus to stop properly in the bus stop, the bus area. Sometimes I would have observed that students are playing in the bus here, up on the bus stopping, so the bus can either let off passengers or allow them to come on board. Utilize the railing while going on the steps of the bus. Take your time going up, right? Take your seat. If there's a seat available, take your seat, or if you can reach one of those hand things that you can hold on the seat, hold on to it tight, for your safety, right? Whilst the bus is driving, sit in your seat until you reach your destination, right? You cannot be, not all these buses are equipped with seat belts. So the next best thing is to sit in your seat safely until you reach your destination, right? I would encourage parents also to teach, just to walk. I don't know if they still it, but growing up I would have seen where when walking with our parents, they would have teach us and show us sign that, okay, that means stop. There are so many signs around us, and I don't think a lot of children understand what these signs mean and know how to react to them, right? So we need, if parents can, if we can, we were asking you to, whilst walking with them, so going to work, carrying them to school, teach them what these signs mean, teach them what the different colors of the stoplight means, right? The red is for stop, the amber orange is for go slow, and the
I stop.
Stop.
Stop,
All right,
stop.
stop. I stand
Stop.
correctly. Stop.
The traffic light, both the amber and the red
It means stop.
Stop.
Right? And the green is for go.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we need to have these things in mind. Right? And just to add also, pertaining to earlier, there's a time when we would have said that there's a concern in taking our JATC buses. There are not enough buses. As you have seen, Madam would have gotten, 50 buses recently to add to the fleet. So we encourage boys and girls to utilize the JUTC buses, right? Because they're there for you, right? And I'm not going to say, entirely that they are safer than the other transportation, but I would think that there are guidelines under which the drivers should drive and operate under. So they should.
And then look at yellow bus then.
Yes, right. So encourage you to take the JTC buses, right? And I don't know if the train is. Do you know if the train is being going to continue running?
What?
The train from Spanish Town to the Lindsay there, because I know some of the students utilize that.
You know more than us because it's running still. I think
Yeah, man, I
the
think-
only train is missing recently at backside.
No, man, they started, but the train in Shitty.
It will help.
Yes.
It will help a lot. I remember throughout my 100 years, I think I took that train probably twice.
I've never been on a train.
You never been?
Never been on a
Never
train.
been on a train? Whoa.
Oh God, we have to go get one train for
I've never been on a train.
Not a bad ride. You mentioned the pedestrian crossing. One of the things that maybe shock a few people is that Labor Day, some persons will get up and decide they're going to make some pedestrian. No go so. The pedestrians must be gazetted.
Gazetted.
Must be gazetted, because this is where you say all is well that ends well. Because if a motorist hit you on that pedestrian and it's not gazetted, then your lawyer can argue that it is not a real pedestrian crossing.
Pedestrian crossing, that is true.
The judge can say, especially if it's a child, the judge, especially if it's a child, a real child, the judge can say, it is a pedestrian crossing. And that's what it's, because some judge can really look and say, look here, as far as I'm concerned, that's a pedestrian crossing and that's a child. So you should have yield to that, and that is what is important. So it depends on what really happened and the environment and what took place and the day, date, and time. But it is also important that the laws of the land is understood. That you don't get up because it's Labor Day, you decide you're going to make 5 set of pedestrian cross for the whole street. Who does that? And then some persons get up and they're making something them call sleeping soldier, because they're not police. They get up and they create them, and then they create problems for you because they overdo it.
That's
They
true.
overdo it because a mountain them bill. Nobody na give them the permission to bill, because there are rules, there are length, there are the weight is supposed to be this amount. Some persons just get up and decide say they're gonna bill one sleep in something, and believe me, that past sleep that come like it dead, because it's gonna take you a while to get over it, and it damage your vehicle, and they need to stop that. You go into an area you can't go over the thing. It's not a bad thing sometimes.
No, it's not a bad
but
thing.
it becomes detrimental to some motorists, and it mash up your vehicle and make you spend unnecessary money that you don't have. Don't leave it apart. And they need to stop that. If it is that you want to assist, get the proper thing, the proper weight, the proper length, and everything, and stop get up and decide so you're gonna make a mountain in the street, because it is affecting other persons. Stop get up and decide I'm gonna make some pedestrian this morning. It don't work like that. Crossing, sorry. You're going to make some crossing this morning. Don't work like that. Find out the area. And there is the gazetted area. What does it mean to be gazetted? Because they have a sign there, If you look at some pedestrian, if you look at the end of it, something you see a long pole with a little circle thing on it. You ever see it? It's a long pole. And sometimes you see, it's at the pedestrian. When you're driving, just look. If you look over to it, you see a pole. Once you see that pole there, to always have a sign, sometimes have a square sign, sometimes have a little circle like a ball. It means that it is gazetted, it was done under the government. If you don't see that, something is somebody create that pedestrian crossing. That I mean, say you must drive and let down the people them, because some judge will get very excited and say the pedestrian was crossing the pedestrian crossing and it was bright and the day was bright and you need to get bright. So they have to understand that and know that it is important that you take note of these things. Sam will give you the safety tips on the road. Alan, I want you to tell the persons about build good homework and study habits, because you're still in school, right?
And will always be.
All right, come on. Because I see Stella said she have to stop one time that it will kill you. It will kill you. Tell them a little bit more about build good homework and study habits at this time of going back to school.
All right, so was just last week I was speaking to one of my PYC member and I was saying to her, know that you're going to high school. You're going to realize that it's different from primary school where you did the four or five basic subjects. When you go to high school, it's different. You're going to realize when I just went into grade 7, I think I was doing about 14 subjects thereabout,
Shock you.
Listen, and I was saying to myself, then all of these teachers are going to be giving us homeworks. And best believe they did. And what I was saying to her is that not all these homeworks will be due the next day. And so you're going to have to set schedule and you're going to have to write these things down, because in order for you to remember and adhere to these deadlines, you're going to need to set up your schedule and you're going to need to operate differently. You can't wait until the day when the work is due to be approaching it, because you're going to become flustered and it will mean that you're not going to put in that extra energy and do adequately as you ought to do. So I'm saying to our children, as you go forward into the new school year, do things differently if it is that you weren't doing it before. Set your schedules. You get home in the evenings before you do anything else. I mean, hard work and no play will make you a dull person, but ensure that you get the most important thing out of the way. So do your homeworks. Set aside some reading hours, study time. You want to ensure that you widen your vocabulary. You want to ensure that you're abreast with what is going on. So do educational things before you go off into your social activities, because we're not taking away that part from you, because that plays an integral role as well. So when you get home in the evenings, and this is something I see people practicing. They will do their work at school. They sit at school and do the homework. So when they get home, they have all the free time. You don't want to crumble. You don't want to put all the pressure at school right there to do everything there to get home just to get some added hours to play. Pace yourself. Do a little reading, take your breaks. Do your homework, take a break. Listen to music, have fun, play games, and take your breaks. But we want to encourage you to, please to note that also that when you get these homeworks, usually they contribute to your final grades. So teachers normally, especially the graded ones, they make a note of them, and you find it that when you're doing your end of year, end of term test, these coursework contributes to your final grade. So don't take it for granted when you get these homeworks, etc. Not do that. Or choose which of them you do. Everything is important, regardless of the subject. All of them is important, and they all contribute towards your growth and development and your final grade.
And just to add to what my colleague said, all of these things that the school that have implemented, such as homework, children need to know that these are preparing them for the world of work, such as time management. You know, when you're reaching the work world, you will have meetings, you'll have deadlines for projects. You know, they're teaching us time management and how to meet deadlines. Similar with uniforms, because I would have remembered going out of school and one of the boys said to me, say, then sir, all my tight pants are going to stop me from learn. Right? So I said to him, say, no, the whole idea of wearing a uniform is to prepare for the world of work, where you'll work in organizations that tell you that you need to wear a uniform and feel that you adhere to it, which means that you'll either lose a job, and if you lose a job, it means that you can't pay a bill, you can't feed your family, So all of these and him start to come to the grip and realize, you know, sir, I never did I look on it that way there. So children need to know and parents need to encourage them that everything that the school set out for them to do is for a reason.
Definitely.
Not just for time wasting or anything like that.
My dad was a Rastafarian, and Alan was talking about playing. I remember when I was going to school and the same Dandish and there, my dad used to look at me and he said, you know, and I look at him, I understand how you go to school and make people that throw rubbish by you. Because you think that the box stuff with
Oh.
I since I'm an adult now, I recognize what he's saying. He said to me,
Those games are very good games.
But
you know.
he thought in his mind, he said people is throwing garbage at me, and that's how he looks at it. He said, I understand you say you go to school and you make people that throw garbage by you.
but on a serious note, I'm saying to our children and to the parents who are listening, please ensure that your child takes keen attention to what is given to them in the school system, because the 21st century, and I always echo this wherever I go, the 21st century has no mercy for the uneducated or the unprepared. And if you fail to prepare, it means that you prepare to fail. So all we're saying to you, the teachers are there to facilitate you. Make use of it, because time wasted cannot be regained.
Yeah, that's true.
Very good. One of the things again add to that is to establish also a rule as it relates to television and other electronic distractions. Stay off them during homework, because if they have homework and you allow them to use these devices for entertainment, believe me, they will use them for entertainment and pay less attention. I'm trying to understand why they can't balance that.
Yeah.
I don't know, but you seem to lean to the part that won't benefit you than the part that will benefit you.
I wish when I was growing up, I had access to the things that they have access to now, because I remember having to go to the library to sit for hours to borrow an encyclopedia.
Exactly.
Somebody is using it and you have to wait for hours, you know. And when you finally get it, you have to read so much to extract the information that you want. Now, you can sit right in the comfort of your home and you just go on your phone, you get whatever gadget it is, and doops, everything comes up. One click and everything comes up. So I'm saying to our children, you have everything at your disposal. Use it for your good. Use it for your benefit.
That is true.
Listen.
And
some of them use it, but if you don't guide them,
yes,
they will do more entertainment than education that will develop them. If they have 3 subjects to study, today's date, and them have 3 songs to listen.
The 3 songs.
Mark the 3 songs I listen 15 times, you know. For the whole time, you know.
Oh
Then if
God.
you don't manage them, and it's hard, because sometimes you yourself want to manage because you have stuff to do, but it's very hard. But you have to work as best as you can with them, because if you leave them to them own mercy, you know, them stay and listen them the 3 songs the 15 times till them know them word for word, you know. And I'm wondering, why is it that them don't do the school work like that? My daughter surprised me, you know. In grade 9, I let she do 1 subject, the computer subject. She got a 1.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Grade 9. At the school, I let she do it, and when I saw it, I said to myself, well, girl, I have more than I'm thinking. She got
That's
a
good,
1,
that's
and
good.
she was a shock. She's not. I was more excited and over yelled. She was like, oh, I got a grade. So I said, what is it, dear? It's a 1. And then, you know, some children she just say it and just casually, like she expected.
That's good though. That's good.
And then she loved the gadgets, you know.
Right. They're very technologically inclined. Very.
They know it more than us. Yeah?
They do. So I'm saying parenting is very important, very crucial. There's absolutely no manual for parenting, but there are agencies that you can reach out to.
The teen hubs. Remind them about the teen hubs. The teen hub is at the bus terminus and Alfred Street.
Right.
Where you can get things print for free. You can get assistant with your homework for free. You can get, if you're adolescents or so, you can get guidance and counseling for free. There are so much things. It is there. It is there. I think there's a combine of agencies which include the Ministry of Health, education, etc. The teen, they help you to do your SBA if you have it to do. So the older students can go there, go to the transport center. They can assign somebody to you if you don't understand what you're doing. If they don't have enough paper, they tell us to get some paper and they print them, put the document together for you. So that is an advantage that you need to take of the teen up, which is at the transport center. Police is always there. It's a good environment. It's a working environment. It's created by the government and some other agencies. And the persons who are there, they are well trained, they are educated, and they are there to assist you. And you don't pay no money when you go there.
Free. Use these things. They're at your disposal.
So use them where it's a little bit, we can't talk enough about back to school at this time, because if we do, then we won't leave here until next week because we're about to close the show. Of course, it's almost midday and we're just ready to talk, right? Nevertheless, we thank you. A very special thank you from our Senior Superintendent, Kirk Ricketts, our commanding officer from the St. Andrews South Division. He thanks Roots 96.1 FM for making it St. Andrews South Beat. Thank you, Isis, for always here with us. I think you're going to be with us for a long time because we like having you here. So we speak it into being. Thank you for making us the police, because without the citizens like yourself and Roots, we stand alone, and then what they need to recognize that we need each other to make it possible. I thank my colleagues who are here with me today. If you notice, they balance me well, and I thank you for that. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing both of you today. I'm looking forward when I can get you next week, the other week. I'm always happy to have you here on the show, because you help me to grow, and as young as you are, I learn a lot from you, based on the fact that you have some different chemical in them body. Okay. This is St. Andrews South Beat. Once again, see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. If you give a little more